Okay, today let's talk about gout. Let me tell you my first experience with gout. I was in my early 20s. Yeah, I was there one time. And it was my husband. That day, when we got up, he said, "My toe's hurting me." And I said to him, "Did you stub it? Did you wear a shoe too tight?" I was questioning with all these thoughts of what it could possibly be that would be making your toe hurt. "Did you have an ingrown toenail?" We examined that. No, it wasn't that. But he said, "My toe hurts." But we had a funeral to go to. So he found a pair of shoes that he thought would be comfortable. And we went on our way to the funeral. It was his grandfather. And that after the funeral was over, and his toe was still bothering him, it didn't matter. We had to go to his grandmother's house, and we're Italian, and Italian people always have a lot of food after the funeral. I mean, that's what we do. We get together, we try to ease the pain of the person who is hurting, and we sit there and talk and try to bring up memories and laugh. And of course, there was lots of good food on the table. And what do Italian people do? We eat, we drink, we try to be merry. And the one thing that people do at Italian funerals is they send lots of food to the house. It's not about the flowers, it's about how much food that you can give the people to ease the pain. And so we ate, and so did he. He loved what was on the table. I mean, he grew up with that. It was like good lunch meats. Now we're talking purines and foods. Okay, that's what causes gout to get even worse. Oh, some alcohol. Ooh, that's not good. And then, I mean, the food is just unbelievable. And we sat there and ate around a big table with fruit and wine and whatever you can imagine was on that table to eat. And by the time we got home, he could barely walk. I mean, that's how bad it was getting. Now, what you have to understand about gout, as I mentioned before, there's purines in foods. And every food has a different amount of purines in it. And what it does is it raises the uric acid in your kidneys, because let's look at it as when the glass gets too full and it overflows, the pain ends up in a joint. That's just sort of a lay way of explaining it. So that night, we did everything we could. We had no idea what was wrong with his big toe. And, of course, in those days, you couldn't call the doctor in the middle of the night unless you were maybe having a heart attack or something like that. You might go to the emergency room, but it wasn't like a thing to do to go to an emergency room. So, especially for his toe, I mean, after all, he probably just bumped it. That's what we thought. I mean, how did we know? It wasn't the list of things that young people know unless they've encountered it. And we never did. And by the time that 6 o'clock rolled around in the morning and he hadn't slept all night and he couldn't stand it, and I sat up with him all night because we tried everything. We tried ice, we tried heat, we tried soaking it in water. We did everything, and all we could think of is, does it feel any better? Does it feel any better? So by the time we got to the doctor's the next morning, okay, the doctor actually laughed at us. Can you even believe that? He says, "How in the world did you stand this?" He said, "That is one of the worst pains that you can have." He said, "You should have gone to the emergency room." Well, we said, we thought, well, it's your big toe. How could we walk in and say his big toe hurts at the emergency room? And he said, that is one of the serious pains that you can get. And the acute gout is in the big toe. And the other one is in the elbow, usually. That's one of the other areas. But it can end up in the knee joints. It can end up in the fingers. It is in the lower part of the body where the uric acid crystals do settle. So that was my first encounter. But I had more than that. Let me start here. It'll give you just an idea of a weakened joint, because that is sometimes what causes the area to get inflamed when you do get a bout of gout. I was young at the time, and I had slammed my thumb in a car door. By the time I got it out of the car door, I had to go to the emergency room to have it stitched. I mean, that's how bad I cut that, and that's how bad I hurt that joint. Fortunately, I didn't break it, but I had cut it very badly. A few years later, okay, we're moving on, and I went on a Mother's Day dinner with my daughter, okay? She took me out to dinner. It was lovely. I mean, we went to Pittsburgh. We went to a beautiful restaurant downtown. She wanted to take me to the best, of course, and it was a steakhouse. I love steak. I love prime rib rare. Oh, man, there's nothing better than that. Makes my mouth water just to think about it. I just love it. And so they bring it out on a tray, and I picked the biggest one. Of course, it's Mother's Day. I have to have the best. And she ordered a bottle of wine. You have to have wine with this. It's Mother's Day. We're celebrating. Okay? Not really a wine drinker. I'm not really much of a drinker at all, but got to have a glass of wine. And with that, I had asparagus. What a wonderful dinner that was. Okay? But guess what? By the time I got home, my thumb, the one I had slammed in the door years ago, was hurting so bad, I couldn't stand it. I knew immediately what was going on because I knew more about gout now. Who, me? Get gout? This was before nutrition, before I knew about anti-inflammatories, before I knew about natural things that you could take to help this condition, like what you see behind me, which is my aloe that I drink all the time, so I don't get those type of conditions. And I'm more careful, I will tell you that. And I drink my aloe every day, and it keeps inflammation down of all sorts in your system, and one of them being gout. So that was my first encounter, and this was before nutrition. And my next encounter was on the same order. Not knowing what was going on, what actually had totally caused this, I did the same thing. I had prime rib rare, a glass of alcohol. It was my birthday. I was celebrating again. Okay? And there I did it again. And broccoli and prime rib rare, the biggest one they had on the menu, and a glass of alcohol, forgetting the whole scenario of what had ever happened to me because I hadn't had an attack like that in years. Okay? And all over again. I no sooner left that restaurant. That's how quick it happened to me. I was not a quarter of a mile down the road, and I got the attack again. Okay, so now I knew what never to do, and I have researched it, I understand it, and there are purines in foods, and there are certain things you don't mix together. I never would eat red meat and alcohol together, and I would never eat that big of a piece of red meat again, and I would never put certain foods with certain foods. And one of the things that I always make sure that I do is I drink my aloe on a regular basis. Not just now and then. And, you know, and that's the funny thing about nutrition. People don't understand that you don't take nutrition when you feel like it. Okay, this is something that you do serious for your system. You know, like I take a lot of nutrition. And one of the things that I never go a day without, and I've mentioned this before in my videos, that I have actually driven out here to my office to get my aloe in a snowstorm because I forgot to bring a bottle and I was totally out. I mean, I take my nutrition on a regular basis. I don't take it like I'm going to take Tylenol. Oh, I got a headache today, so I think I'm going to take something. No, I don't go that route. I might add more to it if I think I'm getting a headache. If I think I'm getting a headache, I don't wait till I get a headache. You know, there's an aura, a feeling that if you listen to your body, it will tell you what you need to do. But one of the things that I am adamant about is when you're taking nutrition, like let's say vitamin C, a simple thing like vitamin C. People take it if they feel like it and they think they're getting a cold, maybe they'll take some. You know what? You should take it every day. You know, my husband and I, we take it twice a day. Okay, if I'm drinking my aloe, I do it twice a day. We have a regimen in the morning and we have a regimen at night. If you really want to stay healthy, if you want to stay on top of the things that can happen to you, you don't wait till it happens to you. You don't try to put out a forest fire with a garden hose. But you know what? They tell you if you're going to water your garden, you don't do it when it gets bone dry and it looks like it's dying. You give it constant water. And one of the best ways to do it is to have a hose in there that's sprinkling it a little bit at a time. Okay, so don't you think if that's good for the plant that it would be good for you? We don't eat all of our food all at one time and wait till we're totally falling over before we eat again. We eat regular. You eat in the morning, you eat in the afternoon, and you eat in the evening. You might have a snack through the day. You keep your body nutrition slowly dribbling through your system. And you want to do the same thing with your nutrition. If you would just look at nutrition as food for your body, you will change the whole course of your life. You've got to listen to your body. And since I've done that, knowing that aloe is anti-inflammatory, and just like we have an antioxidant that is, it's a super antioxidant. I don't go a day without it. I take it sometimes 3 times a day, but I definitely take it 2 times a day. Okay, and I take a probiotic, and I don't take it once a day. I laugh at the situation where people will get probiotics, and they'll take 1 a day. You ask them how much they're taking, they say 1 a day. 1 a day. I mean, it's not a 1 a day vitamin pill. It's something that your body needs. It's a good bacteria that helps your body stay stronger. So we started our company with our flagship products were 3 main products. Our aloe, which is Aloe Pure 5000, and our Grapeseed Complex, which it has other ingredients to it, and it's a super antioxidant, okay, and our probiotic. And I'm telling you, that has made a whole difference in my life. So that's it for now. But I wanted to share our stories about gout. that is one condition that hopefully you never have to go through. But know that drinking aloe has really helped a lot of people with gout. And here's to your health, and I'll see you next time.